Hey, it's Matthew. I would like to give you some tips on how to deal with negative comments on the internet. So generally there's three ways to address a comment. You can either ignore it, you can respond to it, or you can block and delete the person who posted the comment. And I'm seeing a lot of advice that is very strong on often in the direction of, look, just delete everything negative, and on the other direction, it's never respond, never engage. I think that's too black and white for most people, particularly brands and businesses. So I just want to give some three quick tips on how to consider which of those three responses you should do. So when should you ignore a comment? Well, let's say it's not a really bad comment, right? It's a little bit negative, but it's nothing extreme. And perhaps there's a whole stream of comments coming down on that particular post. In that case, you're probably better off just ignoring it because it's going to disappear. And if it wasn't that extreme, it's not really worth taking particular action on it. Again, the advice here all depends on whether you're doing your own brand or a business brand or just doing a casual commenting on the internet. But that's the first bit of advice in terms of ignoring. If it's not really going to do anything significant, anything meaningful to you or your business, then better off just letting it go if it's just going to disappear. On the other side is the delete, block and delete. So when do you want to block and delete someone? Well, if it's a troll, let's use that word troll. Somebody who is just being negative for the sake of being negative. You may never see this person again, or maybe you might see them again, but you feel like they're always going to be negative in some way. Then you're better off just blocking and deleting that person, or deleting and blocking that person. And the reason is that a lot of times when we're talking about specifically trolls here, they're not interested in the truth. They're not interested in a discussion. They just want to cause damage. That's it. That's all they want to do. Why do they want to cause damage? I don't know. Maybe they don't like you, or maybe they don't even know you. They just have some personal issues in their life and they're just taking out on you or your brand in some way. It is not worth engaging, absolutely, because it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you say. They're going to be negative. And if you know that's the case, just delete and block. Block and delete, block and delete. Don't even worry about it, just keep on moving. Now the second option here of the three, that is when you should respond, right? So a lot of people again will say, don't respond to anything. Don't respond to anything negative. I don't think it's that black and white and that easy. Because here's what happens is if somebody puts something negative and it's not something you're going to delete, then other people are reading that, right? And they're being influenced by what that person is saying. And that person could be totally wrong, but they're still going to be influenced because people believe what they read. We know this to be true, right? That people believe all sorts of crazy stuff. Doesn't matter what the source is. And so if you're responsible for a brand, whether it's your personal brand or your business brand or whatever it may be, you have to be conscious of the fact that negative comment is influencing, right? That's why we talk about block and delete in extreme negatives where there's no winning versus ignoring where it's not really going to cause any issues. But if you leave something unaddressed that is potentially serious to you, it will influence other people negatively as well, and you certainly don't want that. And particularly if it's valid, right? If it's somebody's commenting about a bad experience that they had at your business in some way, then consider how you respond to make it better. Don't respond to defend yourself necessarily, although I am a big fan of defending yourself if somebody's doing something or saying something that's untrue that can influence other people. But think of it as educating, not necessarily that person, not always that person, because that person may have given up on you and doesn't care what you're going to say, but you're educating everybody else who's going to read that comment, right? That's the most important thing to think about here. It's not necessarily that person who said something negative, it's everybody else who's reading that. And your response can either add to the fire of that negative comment and make other people have negative feelings towards you, or you can turn them around. And you can turn them around by providing a well thought out, educated response that helps inform the person who posted the comment and others reading it. Again, you may not win over that person who posted the comment, but it's everybody else who's reading it. And so sometimes that alone can be very valuable. So I often look at a negative comment. I often consider that a gift in some ways. Again, I'm not talking about extreme ones where they're just negative for the sake of being negative and you want to get rid of them. I'm talking about legitimately negative feelings, because it's almost a marketing gift to you, where now you have the opportunity to actually address that. Because these are feelings, you know, that person posting a feeling, if it's a legitimate feeling, there may be other people who have that same feeling, and you don't know about it. So now you have the opportunity to not only discover that there's this negativity out there, but you have the opportunity to address it and educate people and say, look, I know you feel that way, but this is what we try to do. Or, yeah, you're right, that was not a good experience, and here's how we did make it right, or here's how we're going to make it right now that we know about it, or whatever it is. So again, you're not writing necessarily for that person, although of course you want to make that person happy too if you can. But even if you can't make that person happy, then it's educating the other people that are going to read that, and that'll support your brand. So that's the three ways you can connect. You can ignore, you can respond thoughtfully, or you can block and delete, or delete and block, to maintain whatever communications you want to maintain. Anyway, I hope you find this tip helpful. I'm Matthew Giorgio.